Suppose nature gave a war, and everybody came. The snakes, the birds, the lizards and frogs.
All right, Frogs, 1972, directed by George McCowan.
The first time I had ever heard of frogs or knew it existed was on the cover of Famous Monsters number 91. That great Ken Kelly cover, a variation of the poster of the film, where the human hand is hanging out of a giant frog's mouth, leading one to believe it was all about mutant giant frogs eating people, which it was not. It was nature gone wrong.
I was always fascinated by the concept of the movie, frogs and reptiles taking over the world. You know, when you're a kid in the 70s, you conjure up a different type of imagery than what the movie actually is. And luckily for me, I had thought of reptiles and frogs and everybody just eating every human being in sight. Now, that's not the way the movie turned out.
But it was filmed in Florida, up in Walton County. And this Ray Milland at his crotchety best.
But if you want to leave, go. Go on, get the hell out of here.
It's Ray Milland, the man with the X-ray eyes and Dial M for Murder, and my favorite mustache, Mr. Sam Elliott, which oddly enough doesn't have a mustache in this film.
I'm Karen.
Smith.
What, just Smith?
Pickett Smith.
It's also got Joan Van Ark from Knots Landing.
I better find Kenneth. There's gonna be some real fireworks.
So, basic plot, it's 4th of July. Ray Milland is a paraplegic, invites his whole family and some friends to a 4th of July party. But guess what? Frogs decide to crash the party.
Everything was going fine, right? But then again, the father's miserable. Like he hates nature, but for some reason he lives in like an isolated type of place, and it's like a lake and everything. And they call it frogs, but the weird thing is just that we don't really see a lot of frogs until like the end. There's like a lot of other stuff there's like lizards.
Main threats are snakes, gators. There's even like tarantulas, which tarantulas are not really in Florida, but they probably just threw them in there just because they're menacing creatures. But really the frogs are just kind of just there, and they're just creeping.
But with a title like Frogs, you're expecting like, so many frogs are attacking, but it was like all kinds of creatures. So I don't know, maybe they should have named it something else. But I still loved it.
In reality, I would have called the movie Reptiles, but it seems like frogs are the most prevalent.
Scenery is magnificently primordial, very swamp-like.
It looks very like a Florida type of lifestyle because you have like the lake, you have, you can see like the palm trees and everything like that.
The thing I love about Florida scenery out in the wilderness area like this is that it could really be any century, couldn't it? As long as you keep power lines and buildings out of the shot, that scene could be shot today, it could be representing hundreds of years ago or thousands of years ago.
Ultimately, it was just a great little horror movie, well worth watching. You get to see Sam Elliott kind of get knocked off a boat into the water, see him battle, all these snakes, frogs, of course, other types of reptiles. Very Bill Grefé-ish, William Grefé, the great Florida filmmaker, very much in his style.
And it's funny, at the very end of the movie, at the very end of the credits, they show an animated frog and he swallows like a human hand. So it's kind of funny, like they're saying the frogs like ate somebody, but really the frogs have no really threats except for kind of the ending.
They really try to exploit the fact that animals of that nature were just terrorizing people. It's nothing like that here. It's I've lived here for my whole life. I've seen like 3 alligators. So
it's just a solid 70s legendary picture. Very meaningful to people of my generation, the younger generations, older generations. I think it's something everybody can enjoy.